Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat for Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to the round of 12 here in the Cup Series at Dover. But first up we have the Xfinity Series at Dover where we had subscriber Jack Nettleson in the car for us here today. Like I said, we start the round of 12 here today in the Cup Series playoffs. Very excited to get that underway after a somewhat rough first round of the playoffs for myself in that round of 16. The Roval last episode did not go very well at all for us, unfortunately, but we come through here into the Xfinity Series. This was the last race of the first round in the playoffs for the Xfinity Series, so we had a lot of work to do. We came into this race, I think, about 7 or so points out, if I remember correctly. It was 7 or 8 points. We are on the outside looking in, though, coming in to this race here for Xfinity, and we brought Jack Nettleson in the car, and we were hoping that we could get the best finish possible and hopefully get into that next round here of the playoffs. But we usually come into this race on the outside looking in because we always have such a rough race at Richmond every single season here in the playoffs. And once again, this season, that happened again, where at Richmond, our car just did not run very well. But Jack had worked his way up inside the top 10 here. They're actually getting a bit of a bump from behind from the 4 of Ross Chastain as he went down into turns 3. And then he came through now up the inside of Tyler Reddick as he was, sure enough, just moving his way forward casually. And he would get to the inside of Noah Gragson, but actually clip the apron and then lose a spot to the 00 of Cole Custer. But then he would once again work on passing Noah Gragson as this race went on, and he would sure enough complete the pass on the 9 as he came through turns 1 and out of turns 2. But now we come through straight to the final lap here in Dover as he came through Jack Nettleson through turns 2, trying to get whatever position he could. But you could see up ahead was Brandon Jones in the 19, just too far out of reach to run down as we came through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time here in Dover, and for the final time in this first round of the playoffs as we would cross the line. Jack Nettleson would bring the car home in a very solid P7, but would it be enough to make it into the next round of the playoffs? That is exactly what we are about to find out. We came in on the outside looking in with Christopher Bell winning this race, by the way, and unfortunately we did not advance to the next round. We missed it by 1 point, only 1 position we missed getting into the next round by. So very disappointing way to end our final season here of NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode for the Xfinity Series. Now as we came through to myself though here for Cup Series qualifying in Dover, I screwed up turns 1 and 2, went way too wide there as I just couldn't get the car to get planted down on the bottom as I went down into turns 3 here. The qualifying lap though through turns 3 actually went pretty solid as I came through, slipping and sliding there out of turns 4, but we come through to cross the line, beating our goal just barely with a 23.220, and we qualify in a pretty solid P8 here for the first round of the round of 12, and hopefully we can turn our rough luck around with Kyle Busch on the pole here for the first race of the round of 12.
The playoffs continue at Dover International Speedway. This race marks the beginning of the round of 12. After 4 drivers were eliminated last week, the drivers are ready. Miles the Monster is ready. So pull up a chair. NASCAR Playoff Racing is coming up next.
All right, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here for the first race of the round of 12 at Dover. Parker Kligerman ran some fast laps in practice, looking for him to be up inside the top 38. Now is Kurt Busch starting in the back after engine change after qualifying. That is our teammate, so that could be already a bit of a playoff implication now as we would advance a position here and get ready to go green in Dover now as the green flag is out and we are underway. Actually, we did not advance a position. We still start P8 now as we are underway for the first round, or for the first race of the round of 12. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski lead the way down into turns 1. Denny Hamlin P3 and Eric Jones joined him up there in P4. Behind us there you see Tyler Reddick and our rival on the inside of Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez in the 41 as we go down into turns 3. Suarez, he would get up alongside me, but he would actually drive right on by me, so no fight there at all as we exit turns 4. Just kind of stuck right now behind the 10 of Eric Almirola as I went down into turns 1. So I was looking for a chance to get to that bottom lane immediately here because you could just see the 10 car was going nowhere, and sure enough right off the bat here on lap 2 I would get that opportunity I was looking for and I would dive down to that inside, clip the apron a little bit. We usually do clip that apron here in Dover now, as Almirola though on lap 3 would actually get back to the inside of me as I came through out of turns 4. There you see our rival of Suarez, so Almirola would be able to send it up the inside into turns 1. Hamlin at this point leading over second place of Alex Bowman. There you see Chase Elliott Elliott up ahead. He barely made it into this round now as we exit turns 2, nearly getting into the 41. So we would actually be able to follow Almirola past Daniel Suarez, though. So we would both pass him, and we would not have to worry about Suarez anymore. We would pass Almirola as well and climb up into the 9th position here, as we would have a little bit of a battle, but we would be able to get by him pretty quick as we came through now to lap 7 in this first stage, starting to now run down the 31 of Tyler Reddick there, who runs in P8 as we go down into turns 3. Now, as there's already trouble though behind us, the 13 and the 3 give a huge hit there out of turns 2. Our teammate Kurt Busch involved, and many others as well. Jamie McMurray, looked like Corey LaJoy as well, got a piece of it, but a big crash to start this race here in Dover, including our teammate and playoff contender of Kurt Busch. He would not be out of this race, so fortunately for our teammate here for Chip Ganassi Racing, Kurt Busch would still be in it. But a big hit there as the 13 just looked like he appeared to lose a tire and collected his brother of Austin Dillon, and Austin had a big hit as well. Now, as that was certainly a little bit of a wild way to get this race going here now, as we're going to be side by side with Tyler Reddick on this restart down the backstretch into turns 3, just behind the 20 of Eric Jones. There you see Kyle Busch all the way up top, along with Tyler Reddick, who joins him up by the wall. Shocker to see Tyler Reddick up by the wall now as we go with 18 laps to go here in stage 1. Hamlin still out front over second place of Joey Logano at this point. Brad Keselowski up there in P3 as the 200 teammates of Elliott and Bowman were battling side by side. But then Elliott, he would start to fade a little bit. He came to me as I got to the inside of him on lap 17 of the stage. Eric Jones had now taken the lead. He won the first race of the playoffs in Las Vegas, and obviously comes into this round looking pretty good there. There was a little bit of contact there with the 9 on the exit of turns 2 now as it come through the center of the corner. So we would clear Chase Elliott for P6, and then we would try to run down this next group of cars, and we would slowly start to reel them in as we came through on lap 25 and 29 here in stage 1, barely short on fuel, which was a bit of a concern as I exit turns 2, heading down the backstretch. We come through to lap 26, starting to think I might actually have to come to the pit lane here within another lap or so now as we go down this backstretch, closing in on the final 3 laps now in stage 1. But then the caution actually comes out and saves everybody from having to make a green flag pit stop now, and that will end stage 1 early as Eric Jones wins the stage. We would pit for 2 cans of fuel as well as take 4 tires. It looks like Martin Truex Jr. might have been the reason for the caution, and that's because he is not pitting, and I can confirm Martin Truex Jr. is out of this race going into the start of the second stage, which is now underway. There you see on the pit lane the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. there as we just passed by him. So a playoff contender, a very significant playoff contender, Martin Truex Jr. for Joe Gibbs Racing, who's always a massive threat to win here on the career mode, is out in the first race of the round of 12. He's going to get basically no points at all here today in Dover, and that's already a first big playoff implication here in the first race of this round, as we're going to be side by side with Alex Bowman on the exit of turns 4. Keselowski just in front of us as we battle side by side down into turns 1 as we complete the first and opening lap of the stage. We slip up there though, clipping that apron, and that would allow Bowman to stay clear for a moment, but we would battle back on his inside. A little bit of contact on his quarter panel. He gets a little bit loose, hangs onto the cars. We're still going to be side by side down into turns 3, and I clip the apron once again as we would be able to hold on in front of Chase Elliott. We came through now though on lap 3 of this second stage. Bowman and myself still side by side, but he would finally get clear of me here on lap 4 of the stages that went down into turns 1. We just kind of settled in just behind the 88 of Bowman. He would continue moving forwards as I would also follow him through. We would get to the inside of Brad Keselowski here with 25 to go in the second stage now as that came through turns 1. So we would be able to get ahead of Keselowski. We would get to the back of Hamlin and dive to the inside of him now as well on lap 8 of the second stage, and we would also be able to get past Denny Hamlin as I exited turns 2. So Bowman, he was moving his way forwards quickly, but then I started to actually reel him in a little bit later in the second stage as we came through to lap 18 in stage 2, diving to the inside of Bowman. Then I clipped the apron again, and that's going to allow him to fight back on the outside now as we were closing in on lap traffic at this point. As you see, Ryan Truex just in front of us here with 12 laps to go in stage 1. Now as Bowman's going to go to the outside of him, I'm going to try and go 3 wide up the middle, but it doesn't quite work as I have to get out of the throttle and just kind of settle in again behind Bowman as I would just follow him through this lap traffic there. A little bit of contact there with the 00 of Landon Castle, but Eric Jones was still leading at this point. But I was also realizing if it stays green, we were going to have to make a green flag pit stop here in stage 2, and it was looking like that very well might happen now as we are going to go down this back straightaway to the inside of the 36, but then no, the caution comes out here late in stage 2, and we will not have to make a green flag pit stop, so we would take 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, no adjustments because I was very happy with how the car was running, but we would gain 2 positions on the pit lane because our pit crew has been clutch all season long. Now as the green flag is out, and we are underway here with just a handful of laps to go in this second stage. Eric Jones on my inside had control of the restart, but we actually have the edge on him down into turns 1, but unfortunately through the center of the corner, you can see where the bottom lane advantage comes into play now, as we would lose P1, as well as Bowman would be back up my inside, as we've been battling with Alex Bowman for so much in the second stage so far. Now as Tyler Reddick would also get to my inside as we came through out of turns 4 side by side with the 31 cars. We get 5 laps to go here in stage 2, hoping that I could get an opportunity, obviously, to get back down to that bottom lane, but I just kind of got stuck up here on the top, and I didn't want to give up any time, so I was just giving it everything I had on this top lane here against the 31 of Tyler Reddick now, as I sent it into turns 3 pretty hard, and Reddick would get clear out of turns 4 and hold on to that 3rd position, as Keselowski then would get to my inside, and then Keselowski and Tyler Reddick would start to battle it out, and then I actually made a little bit of contact with the 11 of Denny Hamlin. That moved me up the track, but then I would get to the inside of Tyler Reddick. You're approaching now the white flag in stage 2. Eric Jones had pulled away at this point as we had climbed back up inside the top 5, closing in now on the back of Brad Keselowski as we start the final lap here in stage 2, but then the caution comes out again now, and that will end the stage a lap early, and we will get credited with P5 as Eric Jones sweeps the first 2 stages, as we would once again pit for 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires. Now, as I was looking to see if there was any other playoff drivers with issues, but it looks like it was just Martin Truex Jr. so far. Our pit crew would gain us 1 spot on the pit lane heading into the 3rd and final stage, which is now underway here as we'll restart P4. We get a very good launch off the restart, so I'm going to actually give a bump to the back of the 11 of Denny Hamlin and try to propel him forwards ahead of his JGR teammate of Eric Jones. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out now, as Jones is going to be able to battle back on that inside as we exit turn 4. The bottom is actually clear behind me, so I thought about maybe backing out of the throttle, getting down to the inside, but I decided to fight here. But we would still get clear by Bowman, though, through turns 3 and out of turns 4, so I do get to the bottom anyways. Now as we're on the inside of Denny Hamlin as we complete the first and opening lap here of the 3rd and final stage. Alex Bowman all the way up to the top, and that might allow me to have a chance here to climb up into 2nd place, as we're going to be side by side, 3 wide actually there for a moment with Hamlin and Bowman, as there was contact made, and that actually moved Hamlin a little bit backwards, but then I oversent into turns 3, and that allows Keselowski to my inside, and then I get very loose on the exit of turns 4. We hang onto the car, but drop down now to P4 as I dive down into turns 1 back up the inside of the 88 of Alex Bowman. We've been battling with him so much in this race, and it's going to continue here as we exit turns 2. Bowman not giving an inch on the exit of the corner, and we would continue the side-by-side battle down into lap 65 now as I clip the apron though through turn 3, allowing now Joey Logano to get ahead of me, but we clear Bowman and hang on to P4. We would then follow Joey Logano and run his teammate of Brad Keselowski down, actually, as we came through on lap 69. Nice at this point as I came through turns 1 and turns 2. The cars behind it kind of fallen off a little bit now as Logano. He would make a move to the inside of his Penske Racing teammate of Brad Keselowski, and then I tried to follow through here on this bottom lane as Eric Jones was just running away at this point with the lead, as I could not quite get a chance to get to the inside of Keselowski, but then we came through now on lap 70 through turns 3 and turns 4, and then that would be my opportunity to pass the 2 of Keselowski, and sure enough, we would get up into P3, then put the pressure once again on the back of Joey Logano. We come through on lap 75. He chooses the outside. I go down to the bottom, and then I clip the apron again. I keep clipping that apron, and you can see what happens when I do that. We just lose so much time. So then we had to fight back once again and run down Joey Logano, who continued to run that high lane, and then he actually decided to drop down in front of me here now. And as we came through on lap 79, once again, working our way through lap traffic at this point, just barely over 20 laps to go at this point now as we came through a lap later on lap 80, right up at the back of Matt Tiff to go in between Logano and Tiff, but then I back out to the inside here as I went down in turns 1. Now just looking for the best opportunity possible to make a pass on Logano, and it might be right here as we're going to split them once again 3 wide as we go down into turns 3 side by side with Logano, but he would be able to hold on once again as we would continue in this little chase on him now as we came through on lap 82, hitting lap 83. Jones still leading, and then Logano catches Bubba Wallace in a perfect spot, and now we'll just go around the outside, and finally we would pass Joey Logano, take over P2, and set our sights on the leader of Eric Jones within the final 20 laps of this race. But we come through in lap 85, and now the fuel light was on. Drivers are starting to come to the pit lane there. As you can see, a bunch of cars all over the place here. As we go down into turn 3, the 12 of Ryan Blaney, a playoff contender, looks to be smoking there into the pit lane. That's going to be big for Ryan Blaney, as we have another playoff implication here, as we're also lapping another playoff contender of Clint Boyer as we go down into turns 1. But now we had to actually come to the pit lane this time by. But Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., the two playoff contenders now that are out of this race here in Dover as we go down into turn 3. Jones to the pit lane, the leader, and we're going to follow him as well as we gain a ton of time to Eric Jones, and we're going to slide in just behind him. And I decided we were only going to take 2 tires and then put, I think it was like a can and a half of fuel in the car, something like that. But either way, it was estimated 9.3 seconds, and they would get the tires on, and we would be out in 9.2 seconds. And you see right here, Eric Jones, nowhere to be found. We would blow him away on the pit stop, and I was starting to think that maybe the AI took 4 tires because we completely destroyed Jones there on timing, and we would be able to cycle out as the leader. So we come through on lap 90, just 11 laps to go. Tyler Reddick had actually moved into 2nd place. Eric Jones had fallen outside of the top 5, so I'm just not sure what happened to him. He was still going in this race, as I would actually let my teammate of Kurt Busch get past me to be on the lead lap, knowing that I'm trying to help him as much as I can. Now as we came through on lap 92, just 9 laps to go, just kind of chilling behind my teammate of Kurt Busch, but then the caution comes out, and what looks like we were running away with victory is now going to have to be settled in a late race restart here, unfortunately, in Dover for us. So I was definitely concerned going into this, what could be the final restart now here in Dover as the green flag is back up. My hope is that Denny Hamlin, Paul Menard, and the 21 and the 31 of Tyler Reddick are all able to hold up the 20 of Eric Jones as much as possible, as we are off down through turns 1 now within the final handful of laps of this race. If I can just get up on the wheel and run away with victory, we will be locked in to the round of 8 as we dive down into turn 3. Hamlin already under pressure from the 20 of Eric Jones, not what I want to see at all now as we exit turns 4, and we're going to come through to just hit 5 laps to go. Hamlin has some speed, but you can tell the 20 car is so much faster. He gets to the inside of Hamlin, and he's bringing Joey Logano along with him as we come through out of turn 2. Jones already closing that gap to me, but then he would actually get in a side-by-side battle now with Joey Logano through turns 1 and 2 on lap 97. Logano, he would get past Jones, and they were both running me down very quickly though as we came through towards the end of lap 97. As we come through out of turns 4, Logano is now within about a car length and a half to 2 car lengths as we hit just 3 laps to go here in Dover. They are both closing in very quickly now, as I think they very well might have fresher tires as I clip the apron there on the exit of turn 2. Logano humps on the opportunity, gets side by side with me for the lead as I dive down into turns 3, and once again I clip the apron like an idiot, slide up the track. Jones is going to take it 3 wide for the lead. Myself and Logano all the way up into the wall. We make contact, and now we hit the inside wall. Jones out front now has completely choked away the chance at victory, but the green flag stays out with just 2 to go as we're going to try and salvage any positions we can as I hit the apron again, 3 wide with Reddick and Hamlin. We hang on to P4 for a moment now as we dive down into turns 3 as everything has fallen apart, and then I slide up the track. We're now going to be 3 wide in the middle between Reddick and Keselowski. Reddick gets past Elliott's going to look to my inside now. The white flag is in the air for Eric Jones, who's trying to hold off Joey Logano, and he looks like he has the speed to do it now. We're down to P7 as we exit turn 2. We hit the 2. He goes spinning into the outside wall. We have a crash down the back straightaway. On the final lap, we hit the inside wall hard. The race is over now on the final lap as a crash ensues because of myself, and Eric Jones wins here in Dover as we now fall down to P11 on the final lap here in Dover. What looked like we were going to be a contender to win this race, well, we just completely threw the win away and finished in P11 instead. Out of turns 2, I just pushed way too hard and just going for everything I could get. I was pushing way too hard there in general in the final few laps, and everything just went wrong when I clipped the apron and allowed Joey Logano to get to my outside, and Logano was not very happy after the race. Understandably so. We did put him in the wall there, trying to get everything I could get and hold on to that lead, and unfortunately just didn't work out for us now, as we had a chance to lock ourselves into the next round, and instead we wrecked the car doing it. So very unfortunate. And in the next one, though, we will be going to Talladega, where anything can happen there. Eric Jones has won the first race of both rounds of the playoffs so far. He's got 3 wins this season. He's doing an incredible job here in the 20 car this season compared to any other season in our career mode. He's done so much better. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this one, you know what to do. You're going to see the playoff grid on the screen here. There you see the truck grid as well as the Xfinity grid, which we are no longer a part of, unfortunately. But in the Cup Series, we are still 24 points to the good. So we're still in decent shape going into Talladega. So that will do it, though, for this episode of Heat 4 Career Mode. There you see the 4 guys looking out. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.